everything in between, we are everything beyond that, but mostly we are just human beings, and here we are all shipmates here at Kings Point. And I think this event is overdue, and I really thank senior management for being so supportive of this. Never heard any bad words. They bought in, loved it, and we've had a lot of fun putting it together. And I want to give some credit here. This is a joint production of the American Merchant Marine Museum and the Open Seas Club, and that was Kimmy and Maddie and a whole lot of other people, and Alexa with supportive words, and other people just, you know, being great. So why is this exhibit called A Long Way to Go? So it actually takes its name from Heave Ho, right? We've all sung Heave Ho and Damn the Submarines and all that. But Heave Ho was written during World War II by a USMS officer who was gay. And in fact, Jack Lawrence was his name, and he met his life partner, who was another USMS officer. So, hey, USMS, we kind of own this. And I think that's a great and important little fact. Why we picked on this element of the lyrics, A Long Way to Go, is I think because, well, sure, there's been progress here and other places in America. Let's face it, we're not quite there yet. And I think there is a long way to go in acceptance and diversity and eradicating labeling and persecution and prejudice and ridicule. That all needs to go away. And I think this is a historic occasion, as Andrew likes to remind me, in that the Academy is embracing this. And you know, we're getting there, but still a long way to go, I think. So the goal of A Long Way to Go is to provoke frank conversations. I'm not trying to irritate or anger anybody, but I'm hoping if you read these little plaques that you start talking to each other and you discover some things about each other. And you know, I am at the end of the day an educator, and I think that's what we want to see. I don't want to see arguments. I just want to see people, hey, I didn't know that. Really? That's kind of interesting. And I think that's going to lead to a higher level of understanding and acceptance. And I hope potential midshipmen, when they visit here, see this and say, hey, I can be gay at KP, and it's gonna be okay, right? And that's a really important function. So we want to give a few thanks, again, to the senior management, and to Kimmy and Madison Schmidt, and also to our guest speakers, our alumni, Anne-Marie Elder and Andrew Baranski again, both alumni, but the guy I really want to thank is, I think, not here. It's the guy who actually did all the sweat of putting this up. It's the guy behind the scenes who makes the museum work, and it's a guy named Clay Harper, who is just a super, super nice guy. Also a super shy guy, so you got to try hard to find him. But Clay, I hope you hear this someday. Super guy. Okay. Without further delay, I'd like to introduce our superintendent, Vice Admiral Bono, for a few words.
Thank you, Josh. You know, I like the quote from Jefferson. I'd also say that while it is a long way to go, while we're on watch, we should try to make good speed. I want to say good afternoon to our guests, leadership, staff, faculty, and midshipmen. Thank you for joining us today, opening of A Long Way to Go exhibit, the third installment of the American Merchant Marine Museum Highlights in Leadership and Diversity series. This exhibit tells the story of a community of people that have been marginalized for many years. And I'm pleased to kick off Gay Pride Month by welcoming it to USMMA and to recognize the work of the people that brought it here. It's a story that has not been told for far too long. Since its creation, diversity has been a cherished value at the United States Merchant Marine Academy. USMMA is the only Federal Service Academy that never practiced segregation and was the first Federal Service Academy to admit women. Our student body is increasingly diverse and welcoming to all qualified young people, And while we're not a perfect institution, we are making a concerted effort to continue our proud tradition of diversity while upholding academic standards, the core regimental values of respect, honor, and service, and USMMA's mission, which you are all familiar with. Today we will hear from a number of speakers as we introduce and open this important work. I know that Dr. Smith will appropriately acknowledge, and he has, those that contributed to this exhibit, but I'd like to take a moment to recognize also the outstanding efforts of the Midshipman Open Seas Club, especially Midshipman First Class Kimmy Palace. Thank you, Kimmy. And Midshipman First Class Maddie Schmidt. Thank you, Maddie. Both of you played an important key role in driving the conceptualization, communication, and development of the exhibit. Dr. Josh Smith and the museum staff, along with Dr. Lori Townsend, have ensured all along the way that the exhibit accurately tells a story that has really never been told before. And our alumni guests and influencers, Andrew Baranski, it's great to have you back, Andrew, Anne-Marie Elder, and Eric Wallace-Chick stood side by side with the group to ensure the content was accurate and relevant. For all of these efforts, we are grateful. We have a full agenda today, so I'll close with this. As an institution that produces exemplary leaders of character, it's incumbent on us to promote equity and inclusion and leave fear and bigotry behind. As we open a long way to go, I invite the Kings Point community to ponder the complexities, fears, and yes, and even the joys past, present, and future midshipmen who identify as LGBTQ. My sincere hope is that a long way to go will encourage a climate of open discussion, as Josh mentioned before, lifelong learning, safety, and respect. Acted non-verbal. Thank you.
I think at this point, Anne-Marie, if you'd come forward and say a few words. And introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Yeah, I just have a couple of words. I'm Anne-Marie Elder. I'm class of '88. The Global Chief Underwriting Officer at AXA XL Marine, which is the largest P&C insurer in the world. We actually lead the majority of the world's fleet, which is pretty cool. It's an honor to be back here, especially now that I can come back here as my true self. And I'm not gonna lie, there was like a little bit of fear even today coming back as a gay person, because you know things were a lot different when I was here. I was in the 11th class of the Academy's history to admit women, and as the Admiral said, you know, we were the first to admit and graduate women, and that's a real sign of leadership. And so is this, another sign of real leadership. You know, my years here were a time when discussing sexual identity was unthinkable. I mean, it was silence. I mean, it wasn't even something that you joked about. That placed a heavy burden on members of the gay community like myself. But look where we are today. We're opening an exhibit on LGBT at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, and I couldn't be more proud of the Academy. And I have always been proud to be a graduate of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, and I can't say enough about the education and the experience that I got while I was here. It has really defined who I am as a global leader in the marine insurance industry. Open acceptance of the LGBT community and like supporting programs like this exhibit, they're only going to add to the Academy's commitment and success as they turn out and educate and graduate the future leaders of the United States. Leaders who recognize diversity, who embrace it. They're going to be better prepared to serve our country and the maritime industry as those leaders. And you know, after that, they're certainly going to be ready to take on all the diverse career opportunities that the maritime industry has for them. So again, I want to thank Dr. Smith for doing this. I also want to thank the Academy for the courage to make this happen. I mean, this is a big deal to me that this is happening after all this time. And yeah, so thank you for just letting me be a tiny part of this. I really appreciate it.
a man who really needs no introduction because we know him so well on campus, Andrew Baranski. And Andrew, tell us about yourself.
Wow, good afternoon, everybody. It's really great to be back here again. It's been over a year, and I can't believe that. But I first want to start off by obviously thanking Professor Smith and the Open Seas Club, particularly Kimberly Palace and Mary Smith. They put a lot of work into this, and they really put their hearts and souls into making sure that this happened here today and was able to be here for the kickoff of Pride Month. So can we give them one more round of applause for the work that they did? I'm truly grateful to be here to share and celebrate this moment with you all. If you had told me when I graduated in 2014 that one day I'd be back on campus for the kickoff and the unveiling of an LGBTQ exhibit with my boyfriend, I would have thought you were crazy. That was not something that I saw in the future of this academy. But I'm really, really grateful that we have this time together and this opportunity to celebrate the LGBTQ community. And I know that this will only grow as we grow as an institution. So looking back on my time, when I think of Kings Point, and particularly the LGBTQ community, it really was not an easy journey being gay on campus. You know, it wasn't that long ago, only 11 years ago, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. Before that time, you were not allowed to be openly gay in our military. That means you weren't allowed to come to Kings Point. I remember joining Kings Point in 2010 and signing paperwork that said, if you're found out to be openly gay, you can't commission, meaning you can't attend Kings Point. That was not that long ago. You know, anybody who's been through this experience knows that Kings Point's a tremendous burden for anybody. But it's exponentially worse for the LGBTQ community because now they're putting the added burden of hiding who they are, hiding their authentic self. So that's why it's really important that we focus on initiatives like this that foster diversity and inclusion amongst our ranks, that really allow people to be comfortable in their own skin. Because at the end of the day, all that diversity and inclusion is about is really allowing people to perform on the basis of their merit and not judging them for outside characteristics that they can't control. It's creating safe spaces where everybody can thrive. And I think when we really look deep down ourselves, we can all agree that everybody deserves that opportunity. Everybody deserves that chance. And I am really so proud of my alma mater for recognizing that and pushing forward these initiatives like this. You know, I returned to the Academy on active duty in 2017 to serve in the Sexual Assault Prevention Response Office, which will forever be one of my greatest assignments ever. I really enjoyed the work I did there. But I was pretty shocked that 2017, 6 years after the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, not much had changed in terms of the LGBTQ community rights and perceptions. We really didn't have anything. We hadn't had an LGBTQ awareness event. We didn't have a gay-straight alliance that was public and open. So I was really determined to change that. It started with a soccer match in 2018, which was fantastic. Then the formation of the Gay-Straight Alliance, which Midshipman Palace heads up, and that's been growing in force. Then we had the LGBTQ alumni panel. You know, and I have to really give kudos to leadership because they really empowered us to make these changes and supported us every step of the way, which was truly special across the board. And now today we're culminating in the opening of our first LGBTQ exhibit as part of our Merchant Marine Museum. We are highlighting the contributions and celebrating the LGBTQ community both in the maritime industry and in the academy. So I'll close out with saying that change is never easy. It's always difficult. It's always going to be challenging. But I can promise you so much that when you put the effort in, when you put your passion into it, and you're working towards a solution that makes lives better for other people and makes other people comfortable so that they can operate, it's always worth that. And you showing up here today, I see a lot of young midshipmen. You're the future. You working in tandem with supportive leadership is what's going to continue to drive all our alma mater forward. It's what's going to continue to foster diversity and inclusion amongst our ranks so that one day anybody can come through this campus and be set up to succeed, no matter where they come from, no matter what their sexual orientation is, no matter what their skin color is, they will be able to succeed here. So keep driving that forward. I know you can do it. I am so inspired by you. I'm inspired by the leadership, and I'm encouraged about the route that our alma mater is on. Acta non verba.
Wow. Our next and final speaker has a tough act to follow. Kimmy's going to speak to us for a little bit, and then I've got a few final comments after her. Kimmy, and tell us who you are.
I'm Midshipman Kimberly Palace. I'm the president of the KP Open Seas Club. I graduate in about 2 weeks. Very excited. But my main goal during my time at Kings Point was to create a more inclusive environment for the LGBTQ community. I know that we didn't have a club going on. I tried to start one my plebe year. It didn't go too hot. I was a plebe, so it was kind of hard. But I'm happy that we've come a long way. LT Baranski came to me in 2020, and we started the KP Open Seas Club. We have about 100 members now signed up, which is amazing. I can say with confidence that a lot of progress has been made at Kings Point. However, there is still much work to do. My hope though, is that midshipmen or any incoming candidates walk past this exhibit and they feel a little bit safer, and they know that someone at this school does stand with you, and that they are comfortable coming to our school. Sadly, my time is coming to an end, as I said, in 2 weeks. And Natalie Dorsey is going to be taking over for me, and I know that she's going to do a great job, and we got a good baseline. So I just want to say thank you to Dr. Smith, Maddie, Lori Townsend also. We spent every Monday night together, which is really fun, and coming up with this. So, and thank you everyone for supporting it and letting us paint the wall pink. But yeah, that's all.
Just a few final comments. One thing that didn't happen for today is our brochures didn't show up on time. So it's about a 20-page pamphlet, and the last section is called Acta Non Verba, and it's about the experience of being gay as a midshipman here at Kings Point, and Anne-Marie and Andrew and a bunch of other people helped contribute to that, and I think it's well worth a read. And you know, the brochure isn't always a happy story. There's an edge to this, and frankly, in researching this, I was surprised at how viciously the federal government treated LGBTQ people. But I think we're moving past that. It's not going to be a problem, and now I think is when we ask all Naval Academy graduates to bust out with "In the Navy." In the Navy. Or YMCA. It's all good.
I can do YMCA.
Alrighty, folks. On that note, we're done. Feel free to mill around and talk. I'd love to talk to anybody. Thank you for coming. I think this is